Welcome back to another ukulele tutorial. I'm Lara, and today's lesson is on the song Afterglow by Ed Sheeran. This is a beautiful song, and we'll look at 4 different patterns that you can use to play this song. First, we'll start off with an easy beginning strumming pattern, and then we'll move into 3 beautiful finger-picking patterns. Throughout this lesson, you'll find the chords, lyrics, and patterns on screen. You can also download them as a PDF from my Patreon page, and you'll find that link down below in the video description. I want to point out that I'm playing a tenor with a low G. If you have a high G on your instrument, you can follow this entire tutorial and all of the patterns. Just keep in mind that the patterns will sound slightly different on your instrument because your 4th string is 1 octave higher than mine. As we move through each pattern, I'll demonstrate how to apply the pattern to half of the song, from verse through chorus. Keep in mind that all of the patterns that we'll cover in this lesson consist of 4 beats, so if we look at any of the patterns and how many times to apply it to a certain chord, we'll apply all of the patterns the same number of times. After the tutorial, I hope you'll join me for a play-along where I'll play through the entire song and you can play along with me. Now let's start by taking a look at the 5 chords in this song and how to play them and some tips on transitioning between them. If you're already familiar with these 5 chords, then skip ahead to the first pattern. Our first chord is G. I'm playing G with my middle and index fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 1 and 3, and my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Our next chord is C sus2. I'm playing this chord with my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string and my pinky on the 5th fret of the 1st string. In this song, we transition from G to C sus2 in the first 2 lines of the verses. To do this, we'll play our G chord and leave our ring finger down, picking up our index and middle fingers and placing down our pinky. Our next chord is D. I'm playing D across the 2nd fret of strings 2, 3, and 4 with my ring, middle, and index fingers. Next we have E minor. To play E minor, I have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and my ring finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Our final chord is C. I'm playing C with my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. I want to point out another transition in this song, which is from C to C sus2. So starting on our C chord, we have our ring finger down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and then we're going to lift up our ring finger, placing down our middle finger and pinky to go to C sus2. You can practice this transition back and forth between these 2 chords. Our first pattern is an easy strumming pattern. Let's take a close look at how to play this pattern and how to apply it to the song. Here's our first pattern played at a slow tempo on a G chord. We're doing a down strum on beats 1, 2, and 4. So as we count it out, the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song sounds like this. As we move into the first verse, we're starting on our G chord and we'll play this pattern twice. Moving into the second line, we're going to our C sus2 chord and we'll play our pattern twice again. into the third line, we'll play our pattern once on each chord. So once on D, once on E minor, once on C, and once on C sus2. The second half of the verse is played the same way as the first half. So lines 4, 5, and 6 use the same chord progression and are played the same way as lines 1, 2, and 3. Now I'll play through the entire first verse, adding in the lyrics. Stop the clock, it's amazing. You should see the way the light dances off your hair. A million colors of hazel, golden and red. Saturday morning is fading. The sun's reflected by the coffee in your hand. My eyes are caught in your gaze all over again. For the pre-chorus, similar to the verse, the first 3 lines are played the same way as the second 3 lines. So starting on the first line, we'll play our pattern twice on C, moving into the second line, we'll play it once on G and once on D. For the third line, we'll play our pattern twice on C, and then at the end of the line, we'll play our pattern once on G and once on D. That entire progression repeats for lines 4, 5, and 6 of the pre-chorus. Now I'll play through the entire pre-chorus, adding in the lyrics. We were love drunk, waiting on a miracle, trying to find ourselves in the winter snow. So alone in love, like the world had disappeared. Oh, I won't be silent and I won't let go. I will hold on tighter till the afterglow, and we'll burn so bright till the darkness softly clears. Next we have our 2-line chorus. I want to point out that with my range, I'm not able to hit the low note on the word on, so I sing the melody up higher on the word on rather than lower. You can go either way, and if you can hit that low note, stick with it. And now for the chorus. We'll play our pattern twice on C, once on G, once on D, and then for the second line, we'll play our pattern twice on C again, and then twice on G. Now I'll play through the 2 lines of the chorus, adding in the lyrics. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Our second pattern is a combination of a down strum and fingerpicking. Let's look at this one up close. Here's our second pattern played slowly on a G chord. I'm starting by playing an arpeggio through all 4 strings. This is a down strum played slowly as a broken chord so that each note rings out. Then I'm picking string 4 with my thumb, strings 1 and 2 together with my middle and ring fingers, back to string 4 with my thumb, and finishing on string 3 with my index finger. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. Now keep in mind that we'll apply each of our 4 patterns the same number of times to the chords in this song. So as we look at pattern 2 and how to apply it to the second verse, we'll apply the pattern the same number of times as we did with the first pattern in verse 1. Now I'll demonstrate how it sounds to apply our second pattern to the first 3 lines of verse 2. I'll play this instrumental only, and then I'll sing through the entire verse. So starting on our G chord, C sus2, D, E minor, C, C sus2. That entire progression will repeat for lines 4, 5, and 6. Now I'll play through the entire second verse, adding in the lyrics. The weather outside's changing. The leaves are buried under 6 inches of white. The radio is playing Iron and Wine. This is a new dimension. This is a level where we're losing track of time. I'm holding nothing against it except you and I. Moving into the pre-chorus, we'll apply our second pattern the same way as the first, twice on every C chord and once on our G and D chords. We were love drunk, waiting on a miracle, trying to find ourselves in the winter snow. So alone in love, like the world had disappeared. Oh, I won't be silent and I won't let go. I will hold on tighter till the afterglow, and we'll burn so bright till the darkness softly clears. Our final chorus is 3 lines long compared to our first chorus that was only 2 lines. For this final chorus, we'll play any of our 4 patterns twice on our C chords and once on our G and D chords. The song will end on a C chord. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a like. And thank you for subscribing. Now we're moving into our third pattern. Let's look at this one up close. Here's our third pattern, played slowly on a G chord. I'm playing strings 4 down to 1 with my thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Then I'm going back to string 3 with my index finger and finishing on string 2 with my middle finger. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. Here's how it sounds to apply this pattern to the first 3 lines of verse 1, starting on our G chord. progression will repeat once again for lines 4, 5, and 6. Now I'll sing through the entire first verse using this pattern. Stop the clock, it's amazing. You should see the way the light dances off your hair. A million colors of hazel, golden and red. Saturday morning is fading. The sun's reflected by the coffee in your hair. My eyes are caught in your gaze all over again. Moving into the pre-chorus, we'll apply this pattern twice to each C chord and once to each G and D chord. We were love drunk, waiting on a miracle, trying to find ourselves in the winter snow. So alone in love, like the world had disappeared. Oh, I won't be silent and I won't let go. I will hold on tighter till the afterglow, and we'll burn so bright till the darkness softly clears. And now for the chorus. On line 1, we'll play our pattern twice on C and once on G and D. On the second line, we'll play our pattern twice on C and twice on G. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Now we've come to our fourth pattern, which is similar to our third pattern, but it has a few additional notes that gives it a fuller sound. Let's take a closer look. Here's our fourth pattern played slowly on a G chord. I'm starting by playing strings 4 and 1 together with my thumb and ring finger. Then I'm picking string 3 with my index finger, string 2 with my middle finger, and then I'm repeating all of that. So going back to strings 4 and 1, string 3, and string 2. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. Here's how it sounds to apply this fourth pattern to the first 3 lines of the second verse, instrumental only. This progression will repeat for lines 4, 5, and 6. So now I'll play through the entire second verse using this fourth pattern, adding in the lyrics. The weather outside's changing. The leaves are buried under 6 inches of white. The radio is playing Iron and Wine. This is a new dimension. This is a level where we're losing track of time. I'm holding nothing against it except you and I. For the pre-chorus, we'll apply this pattern twice to every C chord and once to every G and D chord. We were love drunk, waiting on a miracle, trying to find ourselves in the winter snow. sing through the final chorus using this pattern. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Next we have our play along. I'm going to play through the entire song, instrumental only, so you can hear how I move back and forth between the different patterns. You can pick any one of the patterns and use it to play through the entire song, or you can alternate between them. The chords and lyrics will be on screen, so if you'd like, you can sing along. 5, 6, 7, 8. hope you've enjoyed learning these 4 beautiful patterns to play Afterglow. Have fun practicing, and thank you for watching.